Hi, welcome to week 4. I wanted to go over a couple of things for this week. This puts us at about halfway through the course, which is great. So that also means we've accumulated a lot of material and stories and authors. So as you prepare for the week 4 quiz, you will want to make sure you review anything that we've done starting way back in week 1. So one way, each week, hopefully you're looking at these overviews that I've placed in here. It gives you some, we're going to be doing in week 4 and a little bit of information about the stories. It'll preview. So we have 3 different stories from 3 very unique authors. Hemingway, Poe, and Anderson. We've already read Anderson previously in the course, so you'll be reading each of those. And then also, we're really going to take a look, since these are very distinct authors, we're really going to take a look at the style and tone that each of them use that make them very unique and also very distinct. Okay, so and thinking about these authors, once you have read through the stories, you're going to be responding into this discussion board, of course, but then also the week 4 response paper. So you'll want to pay close attention. This is a little bit of a longer essay that we have done so far in the course. And this again is also helping you get ready for that longer week 7 research essay. So in week 3, you had looked at some resources in the library. So you're able to look to see what other experts in the literary field have written about the stories that we've read and the authors. So this week, we're also going to be digging back into any of the either any of the stories that we've read or the stories from this week, and looking at some very distinct features. And kind of this is a place for you to be able to decide, this is where I'm comfortable in looking at these pieces and these authors, or something that I want to learn more about as you start preparing for that week 7 essay, because our next steps are going to be writing a thesis for that, and then also doing the annotated bibliography, which helps start your overall research process. So this is a good way before in week 5 you're asked to be able to develop a working thesis. This week, you're able to kind of dig deeper into the pieces that we've read. So you have 3 choices. The first one is talking about style and tone. The second one is talking about theme, which we talked a little bit about in week 3 as well. And also really we started way back in week 4 talking about theme. And then also you can look at some of these works or these authors using a different lens. And one of the ways that we're able to do that is through literary theories. Anytime that we read something on our own, we bring our own lens, our own experiences, our own biases, whether intended or not intended, or and bias doesn't necessarily mean a negative thing, but it's just our own experiences. Anytime we read something new, we bring that. Well, literary theories help kind of look at things in a different way. We can look at any of the stories that we have read or will read in this course in lots of different ways. So, and that's where the literary theories come to be really important. So you'll want to be able to pick one of those things that you're going to focus on. This is not going to be a story that you've already written about for that first response paper. So this helps you dig deeper into some other things and not keep repeating what you've already done. And then you're also going to be structuring it a little bit differently. And this is a little bit longer than we're used to. Again, we're still using MLA formatting. And you are also using direct quotes. from either the primary source that you've chosen, or if you wanted to use a secondary source, you're able to do that as well. It is not mandatory to use a secondary source, but if you wanted to do that, you would have to be listed then on the works cited page and then properly cited within using in-text citation. Okay, so let's look at a couple different things. So style and tone, we have that piece that is in here in week 4. If we can scroll down through here, we have this information that is being shared with you. And this is new. The literary theories has already been shared with you, and so have the theme. But this is something new for this week. And sometimes students struggle with this one a little bit, but these all kind of work together to create an overall feeling for any piece that we read. And I would imagine most of you are familiar with Edgar Allan Poe and know that anything that he writes is kind of deep, and it is melancholy, and there is a lot of uneasy feeling with anything that he writes. And this piece in particular takes on that that tone. He has a very specific tone. So when we're talking about tone and style and mood, we start thinking about the way that it's written, the words that the author uses, and then just some of the other things that we could pick out, some of the elements, such as what are the sights and sounds. Is there something that if we were a part of this story, we'd be able to smell it or touch it or taste it to add that? And that's those descriptive words that the author chooses to use from that. Okay, so what I like about this resource, I'm not going to go through all of these, but what I like about this resource is it gives you a list of things to think about. This isn't completely, a complete list of every tone that imaginable in literature, but it really kind of gives a great list to get started with, especially if you're going to choose to write about that first prompt in week 4. So think about what do these words mean to you, and when you're reading these pieces, can you pick out, in particular with the Edgar Allan Poe, some people would say there is a tone of anxiousness in there in the narrator, and let's see what else is on there. Some people may even say it was cruel, what happened in there. He could be a little bit foolish. Trying to think. It's also secretive. He's trying to hide a big secret. And of course, then there's the violence that happens in that story. And then looking down through here with mood, it goes through, a list of different types of moods that may come up. I had mentioned melancholy in a lot of Edgar Allan Poe's work, but this particular one probably falls more in suspenseful as well, because as the reader, we're kind of on the edge of our seats. And then finally, the style piece. What kind of style is the writer choosing with his words and the format? Because we can think about style in our own language that we use, either written or verbal. If we're in like a work setting, that may be a little bit more formal, whereas we're with friends that we're very familiar with, it may be less formal. So all of those words and choices that we use are also the same thing that authors use. So I want to scroll down here for the different styles. Okay, like I had said, the difference between how it would look in a workplace setting versus a more casual setting, and then there's just some of these different types of styles. So if you're writing that first writing prompt, in one of these selections this week, or even from a previous week that you haven't written about, what is that overall tone, and how do you figure that out? How did you find that? How can you go back to the text and say that this was a friendly tone, or it was a persuasive tone, or it was sarcastic? How would you be able to determine that? So I wanted to share these resources with you to make sure that you knew where to find them. And I hope that you enjoy this week's selection. I think that they are very timely. or not maybe timely, but more timeless, that anytime that these are read, students tend to see that this could still be relevant in today's world. So I do like these authors and these particular selections. So, of course, any time that you have any questions, please reach out with any of your questions. And I am looking forward to seeing you in class this week.